Damir Ismagulov versus Guram Kutateladze was a fantastic fight, probably the highest level fight of the entire card, and it's between two guys that are not even ranked, but it just tells you how great lightweights are compared to the rest of the weight classes. But that's actually not fair, to be honest, because Damir and Guram eventually in the future are at least going to be top 10 fighters. These guys are so highly skilled, many fighters in this weight class cannot beat them right now. I mean, Guram already beat Mateusz Gamrot, who's doing great things in the division. He did it in his last fight before he fought Damir. And both these guys were on big win streaks and probably will fight each other in the future as they both get better. But there's a lot of controversy around this fight. Number one, the decision. And number two, the knee in the third round, and a lot of people do believe that Herb Dean may have messed Guram over on getting a win, because the fight was extremely close, like razor thin. And the thing that happened was, Guram kneed Damir when Damir was on the ground. The commentators and many people believe that the knee hit his chest, it did not hit his head. Well, here, it tells you a little bit of a different story, and you have to remember, this is Texas with different rules. These are the old rules, which means a grounded opponent has a different definition. That means that if you even have one hand on the ground while being on both your feet, that is counted as a grounded opponent, whereas in most other states and countries, this is not the same thing. It's only like a few states in America where this is counted as a grounded opponent. So Guram reversed Damir on the ground and got on top. When Damir dug in the underhook and looked to stand up, Guram put pressure on him and made him go backwards, and right at this moment, Guram threw a knee, and I think he actually intended to hit the chest, but he in fact did not. He hit the neck. You could see right here, the knee is under the chin, under the jaw, and it's on the neck, which is technically not counted as a head strike. But Guram touches the jaw with his thigh when he's bringing it downward, and this is what makes it look like he kneed Damir in the jaw. So I cannot blame Herb Dean for thinking that this hit the head, because in real time it looked like it did. But in actuality, a knee hitting a grounded opponent to the head is a bit confusing here, because does it also count if you just like bring your knee downward into the jaw? Does that count as a strike? What about the many times where fighters are transitioning and they accidentally hit the opponent in the head with their leg? Does that also count as a strike on a grounded opponent? It's a bit murky. And one interesting thing to note here, why I keep talking about grounded opponent, is you may have noticed that Damir is on both of his feet. His knees are not on the ground. He has one hand on the ground and both his feet. Only in Texas and a few other states, he is counted as a grounded opponent. If this fight were to have happened in Vegas, this would have been clear, 100%. So a bit of bad luck for Guram to be fighting in Texas. Never would I have thought that a fighter would lose a fight or get a position taken away from him because of where the fight was taking place. So in fact, maybe this would not count as a strike to the head of a grounded opponent, but in real time, I do not blame Herb Dean for thinking that it hit the head. Now we talk about the decision. Damir got the nod according to the judges. It was a split decision. One judge gave it 29-28 to Guram, another gave it 29-28 to Damir. Jason Staffen, I've never heard his name before. I don't know how many times he's judged MMA fights, but he scored it 30-27 for Damir. There is no way possible that Damir won the first round. Absolutely not. Guram for sure won the first. Damir won the second. The third round is up in the air. That's the controversial round. And as we know, Texas does not go by the new rules. They go by the old judging criteria, which is not all that different. The biggest difference with the old rules compared to the new that is going to be important here is, it says that if there's more striking than grappling in the fight, then striking is going to be more important when it comes to the judging. There was one grappling situation before the knee landed that probably is not going to carry that much significance. So even more things that are against Guram in this fight because of the location of it. Everything else is pretty much the same exact thing. Damage is going to trump all, and to get the most accurate description possible, we're going to be categorizing every single strike in accordance to damage. Let's get right into that third round. At the beginning, while Guram is blitzing forward, trying to land a big right hand, which I didn't really like seeing that from him too much. I mean, he was exposing himself a lot, and Damir was always moving back, fading away with left hooks, using his reach advantage. They say he's 5'10". I do not believe that. He has to be like 6 foot at least. He tagged Guram with that same left hook. Not much impact, definitely a light attack. Didn't really do much with it. Then Guram lands two good leg kicks. One of them definitely having a major impact. Look at the way he takes out his stance, man. That's a heavy leg kick. Jab from Damir, which was his biggest attack in the entire fight. That's the thing he sat behind the most and had the most success with. His jab is absolutely phenomenal, man. It's going to cause a lot of guys problems moving forward. Another leg kick by Guram, but not the same kind of impact like before. Another jab from Damir, not much power in this, and then he lands a pretty good leg kick, and later Guram retaliates with 2 of his own leg kicks. This is actually something that he does often. When he gets hit with kicks, he likes to return back. Very Muay Thai-esque. And here we get to another big strike, but this time from Damir. He just throws down the 1-2 combo. Jab knocks Guram's guard to the side, which opens up a right straight for himself. And this thing lands hard, man. Pretty good shot, a medium attack from Damir, and Guram has to caress his beard, acknowledging the blow. I've never seen someone do that before. Now this is hard to tell from the camera angle, but Damir goes for a left hook to the body from a distance. Definitely the punch is extended at the maximum and may have just touched Guram. If this lands, it's extremely weak. Like barely even counted at all. Another check left hook from Damir as he's moving away. Had a lot of success doing that. Followed up by a jab as Guram is moving away from it. And then finally Guram gets a strike in there for himself, lands another leg kick, and then becomes very aggressive, winging over a big left hook in the southpaw stance and hits Damir with the forearm, causing a bit of a reaction here. Some good impact, and the blowback of the shot actually gets Damir to accidentally headbutt Guram. So Guram actually hit Damir's head into his own head. Both land jabs on each other, and Guram takes an opportunity to land a body kick, mixing it up a little bit, went to the legs a lot, this time to the body, and just skids it. And later just touches Damir with the right hand, no real damage here. And then the scariest kind of exchanges you can ever see in a fight, when both guys throw their right hands and they're retracting into a left hook at each other at the exact same time. The difference though is Damir is winding up. Look how low his hand is compared to Guram. Guram is keeping it tight, and that is why Guram is able to land this first. And they both have a similar kind of effect on each other. Even though Damir had a lot more wind up, because Guram landed first, he was able to kind of equal out the damage. 2 average leg kicks from Guram, and then he finally lands another big strike for himself. A slashing down elbow from the clinch, and fades away from Damir's. But man, Damir's got a chin because it did not really affect him too much. And the same goes for the next attack from Guram. He lands a big body kick. I mean, huge windup and everything. Foot to the ribs, and Damir just kind of walks through it as he extends a jab for himself that just grazes Guram. Then he touches Guram with a slapping left hook around the guard. It barely even gets through. Guram grazes a left body hook as Damir swings a hook and hits Guram in the back of the head pretty hard, man. Had a pretty big impact. We can't really count it because it was a legal blow, but it causes Guram to get hit by an uppercut afterward. And the thing about this one was, Guram didn't even like turn his head away from that hook. Herb Dean was in full sight of it and didn't really say anything. Completely at Damir's fault, but I think he did it by accident because he wasn't really looking where he was hitting. But it does cause Guram to get hit again. Now Guram goes forward and throws a high kick, not to the leg this time, but Damir thought it was going to go to the leg. Notice how he tries to check, and because of that, he had to absorb some of the power from the kick, and he only blocks it with one hand. That's why there was a bit of an impact through the guard. But again, Damir kind of just walks through it. He's extremely durable. Naked leg kick from Guram actually lands, but it does cause him to get hit by a right straight. And then we go to probably the biggest strike of the round so far. Damir winds up a huge right hook with all of his power. I mean, look at the amount of leverage he has into this, as he bobs and weaves under and on the outside of Guram's right straight, and he lands this flush. Definitely a heavy strike. One ground and pound shot from Guram, and then the fight ends with another heavy attack from Damir. After they get stood up, a clean right straight as Guram is throwing a left hook. Straight punches beat looping punches. This is the biggest strike of the entire round and probably of the entire fight, and that ends the third round. So by tallying up all the damage, Guram landed a total of 3 more strikes, 2 more light, 2 more medium. Damir has 1 more heavy. But definitely the most damaging shots of the round go to Damir. I mean, he rocked Guram badly with that last right straight. Guram was on chicken legs from that shot. And the right hook earlier was another huge blow that was more damaging than anything else Guram did in the entire round. Guram's damage really came off of the leg kicks, which didn't have the same kind of immediate damage that Damir had. And because damage is going to trump everything, even by the old rules, and because of the old rules, we can't really look too much into that grappling sequence. This round ultimately, ever so slightly, goes to Damir Ismagulov. So, did the judges get this fight correct? Yes, they actually did. Well, not specifically, that judge with a 30-27 was so wrong. But ultimately, Damir deserved the win, especially because of where the fight was located. If this place was anywhere else that adopted the new rules, Guram would have most likely won this fight. But because it's in Texas, Damir won this fight. But the difference between the skills between these two guys is not that far apart. They are almost even across the board and definitely going to be doing amazing things in the future. I believe Damir deserves a top 15 opponent, and maybe even Guram does. Because again, Guram already beat Mateusz Gamrot, who's inside like the top 12. I don't think this fight should set back Guram at all. It was almost an even fight against a guy like Damir, who's going to beat a lot of guys in this division. And it would be awesome to see all these younger prospects like Arman Tsarukyan, like Mateusz Gamrot, like Damir, like Guram, all these guys rise up together, and before you know it, they'll all be in the top 15. I don't want to leave out Amina Zaitar either, right? Amina Zaitar is probably another guy that's going to be a future contender. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and if you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.